Yeah, yeah. I guess we should expect that my videos are going to have some sort of scrambling going on. I don't know what that's all about. I guess it's the connection between the two videos that are in front of me. I mean, two screens. I don't know. This is Ron, and there's Rudy on the bed, and he just settled down, and he's enjoying coming in here now. He hasn't been allowed in my room for a long time. Ooh, someone's got the gas. Yeah, going to explode. Oof, I think someone needs to go outside. Sorry about that. I think it was Keeney Deloney. She was behind me, farting. So I'm left with the oldest dogs. The youngest of the oldest is gone. Peace has entered the house, and we all realize now how much he was a reign of terror for so long. Spoiled rotten child, but we loved him, and he kept us on our toes. I mean, he was demanding to the very end, to the point where it's just ridiculous. But so, anyways, this is Ron, and I did get my injection yesterday, finally. It was approved. It was approved all along. Seems like it was approved since the 25th. I don't know what the problem was. It was pending. And yet I get this letter that said it was approved since the 25th. So I'm going to take that to the doctor and say, here you go. And, but it turns out, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's supposed to be 5 shots in a row or four. I think they approved four, and then there's one extra that's long duration or something. So I think that's what they did yesterday. They gave me the long duration one. And now I don't have to go for the other four. And we'll save them for later, for use later when my white count drops. So from this long duration one, which was yesterday, I don't have to be back to the doctor's office till Monday. And then they'll do the blood work again and look at my white blood count. And then that afternoon, I get chemo. So, yeah, isn't that right? I think that's right. I'll have to look at the list again. Yeah, because it's coming up. And so, Monday. And so I had to go through the symptoms. They warned me. They said, get some Claritin, some antihistamine, because your body's just going to ache. Every joint is going to want to express itself. Even the jaw, the teeth, the whole thing. And so last night was one of those long nights. So, and still today, it feels like I ran a marathon. My body aches, and it's not, I don't associate it with the flu-like symptoms, but I guess people who have allergies to seasonal allergies, I don't know if they feel like this, joint aches and stuff like that. I don't know. The Claritin has all the ingredients to help you with certain sneezing, coughing, itchy throat, things like that. It's seasonal allergy stuff. But why it helps the body with this particular drug, it's beyond me. But they must know that. Someone must have discovered that. So I did have an episode with my lung last night where it went into a sharp pain, almost like I suffered, just busted out a vesicle or something. And it shoots through me. It's real bad. So I immediately got in a hot shower and soothed it with heat. And then I had a heating pad. And so now I'm discovering what I need to do to make the certain pains go away. But then I also stopped taking the anti-anxiety medication back a week ago and 7 days ago. And it could be anxiety. It might be like, yeah, stabbing my own self in the heart based on the reality that's faced. I got the real numbers. I finally found the real numbers. If lung cancer is found early, this is a small cell carcinoma. of the lung. It's discovered early, which means it's only on one side of the lung, and it's for me it's medial sternum, which predominantly covers where the heart is, but it must be on both sides. So, but with my lymph, all everything was affected on one side of my body at first, but it has metastasized, even though that's prone to metastasis. So spreading to other organs. So they've checked all that, so I'm fine with that. So it must be early. That's like I said, stage two. So we caught this early. So those who where it's caught early and they're treated, the success rate to be alive in 5 years is 27%. And 27% of those individuals will see 5 years. So that's pretty fascinating. Now, those who were discovered late stage, and go through treatment, 7% of those people, all those people, uh, discovered at a late stage and treated, will be surviving after by 5 years. That's probably surprising, quite surprising. So reality strikes. It just freaking strikes hard. They don't want to tell you that. I did. No one's told me that. I had to dig through the internet to find such interesting information. And I guess they expect you to. I mean, you would want to know what your condition is, you know, and what's going on. So, yeah, I had to look it up. So that's not good at all. That's not good. So here I am, Mr. Banshee, all over Jeff and convicting him of every crime he ever thought of committing, and in whatever capacity, and threatening to leave immediately and get control of my life with the resources that are available. Well, that's just friggin' unrealistic. That's me in my. I'm going to protect myself. I'm going to rise up. I'm going to restore. I'm going to, all the needful things that we should be doing all our lives. Come down to the very end that I make such demands and make such pleas of being trapped in such a nightmarish situation where I can't even have freedoms that other people have. So, but it's all everything that I asked for, isn't it? Everything that I have was wished upon me by myself and those around me as they manifest. Because wishes come true, don't they? Yeah, they do. So, uh, yeah, I talked to Jeff, and he's like, "Well, man, you gotta just find joy in your life. That's all. Because what do you got left?" And I said, "Well, that's the funny thing. We did catch it early, maybe even earlier than most people do. And with my pushing, because I pushed hard. I did. I pushed hard to get that first CAT scan. I pushed hard to try to get the attention required, where that poor witch was just stirring her cauldron, ready to just drag me down a different road. Someone would have suspected, oh, maybe, but we've got a test for that. And then insurance would just say, oh, no, you're going too far with this. You should try more analgesic sort of things, stirring the pot. And we all do that. We all get caught in it, and we're all insufficient at our mediocre lives, if that's what they are. So, yeah, so here I am. The only thing I can try to do is give some sort of strength and reserve and judgment upon Jeff that he take care of this house immediately and don't lose his investment, and to fix it enough to either lease it and make the big bucks off of it, let it pay for itself, and in the meantime, hit the road, Jack, find a future for himself and his cat. I say his cat, because, It is. He loves his cat. It's his cat. It's not my cat. Kobe is a sweet cat, and I needed him for the mice and stuff. Or Redmond was more like, he was like my cat. He was so sweet. The little menace will come around again. He's somewhere. But now he's taking up the Dargo spot, where he gets to be the bully. Okay. So, yeah, I don't want Jeff to lose out on any of that. He's going to be coming to retirement soon, and that coupled with his other interests, he could make a good life for himself. If he doesn't wear his, oh, hold on, I gotta let the dog in. Okay, so anyways, I just want to let you know that right now it's my body fighting the disease. Yeah, my bones are doing the work. So these dry old bones of Ezekiel are are doing the work, to rise up and bring forth the soldiers that should come forth from this. Yeah, I could recover and then, you know, and have wasted all that pity on myself, right? Pity parties every day. I feel pretty comfortable with the knowledge and the truth that I have. Especially tomorrow, I have an appointment with my new PCP, and they worked with me in the hospital because they're hospitalists. They worked alongside the hospital. It's a family medicine group, but so anyways, they're gonna be the ones that deal with all my little aches and pains and stuff. The messed up shoulder. They're gonna have to document it, and it's not. It's that's nothing on the oncologist. The oncologist doesn't need to be dealing with that. So now that once I see the PCP, I can address all these things that I need, medicinal wise and treatment wise, that are going to help me through this. It's a shame, I shouldn't have to be fighting lung cancer and then deal with a paralyzed shoulder. It's not paralyzed, it's the nerve is cut. So the nerve bundle's been cut, and so now it sucks. Feels like sunburn constantly. This shirt feels like a waste of time. Yeah, and then I still have that wound that won't heal. It's right on the lymph node. So, and then of course my porta it's right there. So it's a big old bump. That's where they have to give me my chemo through the porta. So no more sticking me in the arms. Even though they seem to like to stick me. I mean, they pulled blood from me on Monday and from my arm because he didn't want to use it yet. He says, no, let's not use it until it's time for chemo. This is chemo. This is specific. And they need to make this last because why? Well, the patient is only going to live for a year, right? So he can only tolerate so much. But yesterday the injection was in my belly. Yeah, it was glass syringe too, like old fashioned glass syringe. That was weird. So it's a one-time shot, but it's in a glass syringe. Probably because what it's made up of, whatever it is that elicits such a response in the body. And it didn't take 20 minutes before I could feel it jumping through, from the lymph nodes. They go over our cheeks right here into our jaw and the nerve endings, and it's like immediate. Ooh, as it starts settling in. But last night sucked, and I should be in bed again. I should actually have gone right back to bed. And Jeff went to work, but I don't want to become one of those people. I don't want to be one of those lung cancer patients because that's what happens. You lose your strength, and slowly your mobility goes out, and then you're stuck in bed, and then you just dwindle away. It's just wasting because then you have no appetite, you don't want to eat, you don't want to get up, and then you just slowly waste away until your system and organs failure, as they keep you sedated for pain, palliative care, until you die. And I don't want that to happen. No, I want my legs to get stronger. They feel like crap. Hey, my inspiration today is I have a bucket. I do. I have a bucket full of gladiols that I dug up out of the trees. Kind of them. They reproduce like crazy here. There must be a mineral in the soil that these things will really love it. But if you don't feed them, then they'll go where they'll just cycle into just greenery every year and not bloom. So I have bone meal. And there's that spot over here by the door on the back side over here where I removed all this penstemon and I was going to prepare that for a bed. It's a kind of awkward shaped, but that's because that's how much the penstemon had taken over that I had to dig it out by the roots. And so I figured that if I just turn that soil and get some mulch in there today, then I can throw it in the bone meal and place those bulbs and then have just a big old patch of clouds right there. And they bloom so beautiful and they make great, beautiful cut flowers in the house. They really do. They last a long time. So, but there's tons out there growing. It's like, and I also pulled up some dahlia because they were being choked out by the gladiolas. It's just a shame that there's a helicopter flying over. It's been doing it all morning. It's like, it looks like a little black military helicopter and it's just flying over the neighborhoods. But I think it's a realtor, like they're getting the shots for the video to show property lines and stuff. Because he's flying so friggin' slow. Looks like a little black, I don't know what you call it, undercover helicopter. Noisy. Must be private. So it's not the hospital helicopters. That's when I was at the hospital for all those days, my bedroom window was right over the helicopter landing. So every night the helicopter would slowly go across my window and land, and then it would rise up and go and leave every night, several times. It was quite fascinating. What a job. I figured parts is parts. They're just trading parts. Who knows? Anyways, I'm buying out chicken. I have to come up with something for chicken. Something for lunch with chicken. And yeah, get back into my routines. That's it. That's the secret. But with all this pain, eek, just touching it, it's like it hurts. It's numb, and I can't press hard because I don't know what I'm feeling, and it hurts. It hurts like hell, and it's all because of that, dissection. See that dissection? It's right across the cut the nerve to take out the lymph. Equally, I haven't run into any of those videos yet of folks that have to go through this. Because see, now this is a whole problem. I mean, I should be healed from whatever it was I went through, and this is a whole problem by itself, but it's not. I have the whole problem all together. And that was my point too. When I met Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel, and he sealed my forehead and placed me in my house, he used his inkhorn on me. And he explained the guff, he explained a lot of things. But and of course the reason for the gulak, the redemption of the souls, and how important they are. Now, he told me that I was promised 3.5 years of normalcy. And when I when I came out of that and I saw a tapestry of the future, the question was asked, "Do you accept?" And it was like a ring of fire, and it was like looking through time. Tapestry. The further you looked into the tapestry, the further you can see into it, the closer it came to the fire, until it was all consumed, an all-consuming fire. And I really, at the time, it was so visual. It was huge. It took up the whole space of my vision to see something like that on top of me. And how can I not accept? How can I not? That's the question. So I threw myself on my knees. And as much as it sounds like I'm rhyming, I wept. To accept. Yeah. But within the capacity of that, and I spoke about it often enough, was what is that 3.5 years of normalcy? Now, following that time, the 3.5 year mark, I had another open vision where I found myself witnessing a great wedding in heaven. And I was without a garment. I was as a rock. And what I was seeing was two galaxies colliding. They weren't solar systems, they were galaxies. And I imagined in my own mind that it's Andromeda and the Milky Way, for which we're a portion to Andromeda, not the Milky Way. But it's the Milky Way that's greater than the other. The arm is ripping through. So the merge itself isn't going to destroy either of them as they become one. And before this, I was speechless, and then I found myself bound by my own hands and my own feet and cast into the abyss. And I woke up, I came out of it. So I was cast back where I had come from, here in the solar system, trapped between two arms, between a betrothal, a great and powerful thing in the heavens. So I was the one man found without a garment and cast into the abyss, but for a purpose, to be here, and to describe the soul body and to understand the placement of our planets through our own systems, our own biological systems, so that we can learn to symbi become symbiotic with the host, as we are but a parasite living off of a host body. And it's not just Earth. Earth is a portion to the body, as the genitalia is the generations, male and female he had created to be them, Mars and Earth. Yeah, how important to know that. And to understand why they want so desperately to go to Mars. Yeah, colonize it, to regenerate what was. That is not, but yet can be. It can be. If Saturn gives up its water, yeah, if Saturn let go of its rings, the dynamic towards the sun could take it directly to Mars, if Mars is placed correctly, to receive star water, to receive the storms and all the collectiveness of the water, to fill its ocean basins once more with beautiful, beautiful water in an instant. So we wouldn't want to be there when it happens. It'd be like the Great Flood all over again. Yeah, you'd need an ark. But once it was over, you could plant your vineyards and you can be naked under your tent and your son can come in and laugh at you if that's what happened, with Ham. And, but yet I know that experience. I know that experience that there are people who commune with God or with that higher source, that power of life, that which is considered the Father. And it's during those times that it's so euphoric that you could literally harm them just by being inside of them, being watching them deal with it and influencing it with whatever it is. Yeah, I my hand, and one day he was all euphoric and all lovey-dovey, and I thought he was talking to me. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I got into it. And next thing I know, I realized that he wasn't, as I talked to him, he wasn't talking to me. He thought someone else was talking to him. And he was in euphoria, and I backed off. So I went and took a long hot bath, and I cried. I was like, shh. I just about violated that man. And yet later he claims that I did. And I said, no, I didn't. I realized that you were in euphoria, that you weren't with me. You were with someone else. And I let you go, and whatever that someone else did to you in your mind's eye, well, what me? And I stepped away. But it shocked me because I thought he was talking to me. He drove us home in a euphoric state of mind. No shit. I don't drive. So When we got home and he was still acting out, it was like 3 hours later. Natalie called me and she says, "Is he okay?" And he is really stoned, bad, euphoria. But he was having a conversation with God or the light, the dragon. Yeah, and he claims he received it like light. It was as light that communicated with him, telling him how much he loved him and how much he was his favorite and all this stuff. His favorite son. Yeah. So I knew that Jeffrey was of the dragon, or I felt. But I'm not an antichrist. I'm not an anti-dragon person. The helicopter's going over again. I still think it's real estate. Probably Google estate, mapping out the city or something. So I was heavily convicted, that's for sure. And I had to go through that motion in order to allow the biblical sense, the biblical understanding to flow through me is to experience it. That's what I declared unto God, that I want to receive in the spirit in all things. I don't want to read something and accept it as canon because someone put it in a book and manipulated the word. And it's a spell. But the secret to it is that revelation is a separate book. And that revelation itself is the testimony of Jesus Christ, he who sits upon the right hand of God, and he's holding a scroll. So we know it's the dragon. We know it's a splendid angel of light, and the devil comes as an angel of light, masquerading as an angel of light, you can say. But he's from the beginning, so he's not even of the Elohim. No, he's from the El. He is El, as his brother is El. El is El, he who fell and went to hell. So Lucifer is the prodigal son, and his own brother who never left the kingdom is the one that stayed in his father's kingdom, but he's holding the inheritance as the will of God. So what's left of his brothers is a scroll with 7 seals. And the dragon, the brother who never left the kingdom, our son, who art in heaven, our Father, who claims to be, as he sits there with the scroll, is unable to open it because there is an heir. So the dragon's poised to consume the man-child as soon as he's born because he wants to stop the heir from receiving his inheritance and opening the scroll. But the secret is, that I discovered, is that the child is blue, not red. The dragon's red, but the child is blue, which means the child is stillborn. The child is dead. So it's the dead child that's lifted unto God the moment he's born, and the dragon couldn't consume him. Because the devil can only consume the dead. I'm sorry, the devil can only consume the living, not the dead. It is the grave that consumes the dead, not the devil himself. Lest you believe that Lucifer and Satan are one and the same. And that's what he convinced all the world. It wasn't that he convinced him that he didn't exist. The devil didn't convince anybody anything, except for that his brother is himself. So he claims as a twin to be the one and only. But they're twins. They're brothers. And so Lucifer's in hell, wallowing in swine, as the soul body that we're in consumption of. So we are in consumption of the morning star. Yeah, so Yeshua is of the bright and morning star together. Yeah, he who covets his brother's wife, his brother's belongings, his brother's creation. And that which creates, if it should destroy what it creates, it ultimately destroys itself. And so subsequently, that's what we have. But there's the love of Lilith, who's the other Adam, the female, that binds it all together through that river Euphrates. That's that's within our own systems, our own body, for which the demons are born through us. Yeah. And she knows that this great fire is coming to deliver everyone. And so she's worried about her children. Religion, for they are many. Legion. Yeah, that's Lilith's children. So, and they have a right to be judged too. Look, I made a little hat. It's one of those silicone cups. I put chocolate chips in it just kind of soothe my throat. I love chocolate. At least that part can go away. There's something that can yes, well, fascinating stories about the soul body, about Gabriel. So Gabriel gave me 3.5 years of normalcy. Now, was that the normalcy and then I got the vision? No. No, that's normalcy to see normally through the veil, like I always did. But it's more than that. And so now I realize that a year ago, when I was walking to the florist and picking up cuttings, that one last trip just tore me up. It's as if I just lost all my energy, like I completely was exhausted, like I had strained all my muscles. And that was a year ago in May. So in May is 1 year. So that's why I'm stage 2, because we caught it within the first year, which likely means that I have 2.5 come May. I have 2.5 more years to go, which means this is good because I really felt like I had failed when I got my diagnosis in the hospital. It was terrible. Of course, the original diagnosis was far worse than the truth, but they weren't talking about the truth with the second diagnosis, only with the word and values of hope and that we don't really know and that everybody should remain optimistic and allow the body to respond and overcome and break all the odds. But I didn't know the odds. No one talked about it. And now I see it on their faces and I hear it in their voices. Oh, they'll watch me deteriorate, I guess. So they have to get to know me. Yeah, yesterday they finally called me by my first name, Ron. Say hi, Ron. So they're going to start pulling me into their family. And looks like they have lots of buffet. They want to feed, feed, feed. If you're hungry, eat, eat, eat. You know, chips. They've got a shelf full of chips, a shelf full of candy and cookies and yummy, yummy, yummy stuff. Yeah, and it's all posters of positive affirmations and decorated to the hills. I'm sure that every patient has made donations of their favorite little pieces, and that's why it was so extensive. I mean, there wasn't an inch of shelf space anywhere that wasn't decorated for Easter. It was just amazing. I can only imagine what they're going to do for 4th of July. So, or Christmas for that matter, however far the patient can get. And when I see the other patients, because I haven't run into them and seen them, I got to be on the ward. But they all look like old people to me. And yet, I guess to them, I look like old people. I look like an old man. But I don't have the white that they all have. You know, I mean, I have white in the beard, and that'd probably look cool. I agree. I don't look old and cool, but I don't have any white on my head. Of course, they say that this these drugs are what's going to remove my hair, but that hasn't happened yet. No, it's just flat because I haven't washed it today. So I guess I need to get ready. Need to get clothes on. You get my shoes on. You need to get the shovel out and start cutting the ground and get down on my knees and go through it and add mulch, fluff it, and get it all prepared. I can't do the above ground, the no turn surface mulching, newspaper mulching and that sort of thing. I can't do that kind of planting here because of our winds and it's so dry. Because even though I'm 8A, zone 8A, the facility here is high altitude. We're about 4,000 feet above sea level, which is a good thing considering what might come. That the Rocky Mountains would be your saving grace. Unless Yellowstone decides it's the big bad wolf, you know, um, the similarity to all the wording. If you listen to the word Gethsemane, the Garden of Gethsemane, it sounds like Yosemite. And Yosemite is like a Garden of Eden with all that volcanic, like from the beginning of time itself. Place where things regenerate. Yeah, Yosemite, Gethsemane. What is that? Now, I've never been inclined to go visit uh, Yosemite. I've never really taken to bears. I don't really want to be around bears. The parable that Mary Greeley News utilized today. Um, let's see if it tells you what book it's from. No, but it's part of the Bible. She has it from New Bible Gateway, but she focuses on the passage, and it's about the day of the Lord. And it says, "Woe to you who long for the day of the Lord. Why do you long for the day of the Lord? That day will be darkness, not light. It will be as though a man fled from a lion only to meet a bear." See, that would be me leaving this household, leaving what I consider my sanctuary and running out into the wild to make a life. The bear would be there to devour, as though he entered his house and rested his hand on the wall, only to have a snake bite him. Yeah. And so you don't want to seek the day of the Lord, of course not. And I've told you that those who seek the king must be delivered unto the king, and that's why the destroyer comes, because Yeshua, HaMashiach, ben David, is the real king. He's in the grave. Where Ben Yosef is the messenger sent, the vagabond beggar that no one will listen to. And of course, it's through that wrath of the Lamb as a result of how people responded. How did they respond to him? Through the son of perdition. How did they treat him? Did they dismiss him? Well, they did. All of them did. I've been writing a campaign letter for years. I've been writing to people for years, and they all just see it as mockery. Like, what? What vanity that you wouldn't have your eyes open or your ears open to what you're hearing and seeing. Yeah, so it's not anything on me. I mean, I've done everything in my power, but I still feel like I failed when I heard my first diagnosis. Where now I have still 2.5 years to reach out to people to bring forth the wisdom and give them the correct keys so we can turn them around, turn the soul body around and put it in place, unbind Esau as Esau, release all of these demons and doctrines and devils and let them accept themselves for who they are before that great fire comes. Yeah, because you can't change yourself. You can only accept yourself. You have to accept and do the internal work and find yourself as a vessel standing to the very end. And then he will forgive you of all your sins and they'll never be spoken again. They'll be washed clean because we were unable to help ourselves. The keys were switched by the what? Yeah, the whole sons of God. They felt it in their power to keep the keys for themselves. And so they're the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Black Rocks. Yeah, they're all related. It's all the banking cartel. Hmm. Yeah, and they're self-serving. They self-bred one another. They kept each other in a blue line. Why? So the child would be born to bruise the head of the serpent, releasing them, freeing them of what they know is condemnation by all living ways and truth and life. They have coveted, just as the son covets everything they have. And we'll take it, which is good, because it's for the restoration of the body that we're not against such things. I don't, only the Christian has the concept of the Antichrist, because anything that's not the Christ to the Christian is Antichrist. That's not true, because there's three unclean. There's the beast, the false prophet, and the dragon. I'm certainly not of the false prophet, not of the Jezebel church, that bastard child who follows false teachers. I'm not that kind of person. No, I'm of the beast. I'm of the beast. Yeah, I'm of the, the beast was placed in the ark two by two along with their fellow brethren. We were created in their image as the last hope of mankind. Certainly, it's far older than most people think. So it's a broad story. So he who is from the beginning, that is to the end, the Alpha and the Omega, it's the Christ. Why should we be against such a thing? It's he that's coveting the whole thing, but he's not going to understand when Lucifer is recognized and Lucifer is restored, and then he finds out that everything he coveted is the fattened calf called mankind. Mankind is the fattened calf. And our best hope is through consumption that we become as man again one day. Mm-hmm. Placed rightfully in the kingdom of heaven. Not to play harps and sit on clouds for eternity. I mean, you'd get tired. You gotta have interests. You gotta have fun. You gotta have stimulation. You've got to have tastes, flavors, and senses, and you've got to have all those things because they come with you. They do. And you don't want that blank white canvas. That's prison. Yeah. Yeah. It should be rainbowed and even further still because it's the degrees in which light can be seen through us. We are greater spectrums, but we shouldn't go there. We have. But it's those same spectrums that is doing a job to help heal when the body gets corrupted by what? Well, the environment. Was it because I was a lifetime smoker? People get lung cancer and they never smoked. And people smoke and they never get lung cancer. So we can't really say. Finding out there's arsenic, 2 times the level of arsenic in our water here in Johanna County. That's a little alarming. It's alarming. That's going into our systems. And we're watering our plants in our yards. And the birds and the animals and the bees. How terrible. How terrible. It's uncalled for. So anyways, today, 4-3. Tomorrow's a 4-4, huh? 4-4 with an 8 year. So that's an 88. That's a mastery. That's the doorway that led me to the wedding. That's the mastery that led me to the wedding. In the universe, I stepped right through. into the soul body, right through beyond the soul body into the greater body still. And today, though, we have that the 4 onto the 8, which is 12. That's a 3. And then the number 3 days. So it's a 33 universal day. Today is a powerful snafu day. Situation normal, all fucked up. Of course it is. And the 33 is the ascension level of what? Ego? The eagle? And when you, the eagle, eagles have landed. The 33. Sure. When you look at the 3 and the 3 next to each other, it looks like butt to butt, cheek to cheek. Like you're on a roller coaster, or maybe there's a train. And so if it got any longer, certainly need a caboose. You know what I mean? And so the effort still of what? Morals and dogma to create chaos. What is it? What's the word out of chaos? Well, anyways, whatever they want to produce out of chaos, that's what today represents. As it is, but man acting out in the capacity of, yeah, well, man defiled the garden, didn't they? That's what happened. And ultimately, it was the serpent who, yeah, enticed Eve, who lied to Eve. Eve be as gods, of course, in consumption. So we're the gods of our universe. This is my universe. For the next couple of years, I would suspect that, that there's enough gracious time to let me suffer even longer than others, at least to be revealed so that they can understand the great falling away and how Paul caused them to take the mark, the image and the number of the beast, and that the enemy itself is N-A-M-E, enemy. So it's the name. Yeah, that's the image. It's the name. And you know you got it. They know they got it. They can't deny it once they know it and they see it. So he's bound on earth for his millennial reign, and everybody's ready to be raptured away with the raptors that eat flesh. I don't know about that. I mean, I do, but I don't want to know about that. The Anunnaki, as the Anasazi, cannibals. Yeah, well, we have to be under the wing and protection of that spiritual covering, which is called brotherly love. And that's what I'm going to seek, brotherly love. Maybe not from my own brothers, unless they hear word of wind on wind that I'm ill and that they should step up once and for all. Because they couldn't step up when they thought I assaulted my mother. Nobody said a word. I didn't assault her. Now I would have, if I was confronted by them, I would have told them I didn't assault her. No, I hurt her feelings, and she was leaving the house hysterical, in hysterics. And I tried to prevent her from going on the road because I didn't need her driving 100 miles an hour going home in hysterics, old lady. So I tried to prevent her from getting into the vehicle, and she pushed her way past me and crying. And then she got hold of the steering wheel, started the engine. I held onto the door, wouldn't let her shut it, and she just dragged me down the street. And then I was screaming the whole time until I let go. So I'm sure she knows that that in its own right was an assault with a vehicle. And so she could have been arrested. And who would have wanted that? I wouldn't have pressed charges, but they could have went after her for that. And then my dad disowned me and no one said a word and no one came near me. And when I tried to write, all I got was the response, have a good life. That's all I got. So my brothers are wrong. And my sister, of course, is dead wrong. My sister's twisted anyways. And that they should come to their senses and uh, and at least find out the truth. Yeah, so maybe someone out there will tune in and say, hey Rob, your middle brother who's sick, you need to go see him. Or talk to him, call him, some contact him. And Rick, you live in the same city as him. You should drop by and just say, look, we can overlook or overshadow the truth just enough to support or give you encouragement. But my brother Rick would just have to reveal himself as the thief and the liar. Yeah, from the beginning, through his father, the murderer. My dad did the same thing to his siblings. He cut them off early. One, he never talked to his brother for over 30 years until his brother showed up in town. I went to go visit, went to see them together. Yeah, talk about sticking a dead pig with a knife. We sat down to dinner and no one spoke a word. No one spoke a word. And every time I tried to say something or be a part of the room, there was no responses. So there was a lot of animosity. But apparently, he became revered enough to be on his obituary, survived by his brother Eugene. And yet, I'm not on the obituary as a survivor. No, they cut me off, and they were wrong. And so, all of those personal things that should have come to me, and yeah, and be a part of the grieving process that was stolen, should be given back. It's no wonder I got sick. Well, if that was the case, that was 2016. I would already be gone. That would be my 3.5 years. And instead, I lost Natalie, and I thought, oh my God, this is normalcy. And then I expected her return as a covering, veiled, and then come 7 years now. So 4/8/2024 on the eclipse will be exactly 1 year and 1 day since I lost my friend Natalie. Truly the expression of brotherly love. You know, she was raised by a Christian couple, adopted, so she didn't really know her own birthday. Every time I do numerology for her, no, that's not me. It's like, well, when were you born, girl? Secrets in the sauce. And she never married, she never had children. Yeah. And so to me, she's the empress. She's the woman in the heavens giving birth to the man child, which is humanity. Humanity. Of course it is. It's everything. It's everything the Lord would have ever wanted from someone so magnificent. So her name, Natalie, Natali, not a line, green. And so there's my protection and understanding of that the locust of Revelation shall not harm anything green. No green grass or green trees or anything green. I don't know why would we? Yeah, those with scorpion tails, those who torment, they torment men that have not the seal of the living God. So I hope I don't torment Jeffrey. I guess if he listens to my videos, he will be tormented. If anybody listens to my videos, they will probably be tormented at the fact of the truth that's involved. So now, once again, I'm perplexed. And like, if you want everything goodness for him, you have to protect him from his own evil. I can't hold it. I can't hold that anymore. No, it's not that I'm throwing him under the bus. No, that's not true. No, I've done everything in my power to be who I need to be in a partnership relationship, and he did everything in his power to destroy. so as to, well, have a first story. I don't know, but not anymore. Pretty soon that door is going to be wide open for him. The World Wide Web will be um, his own universe. And Charlotte, well, Charlotte just dies and gives forth a lot of babies. And poor Wilbur, they probably sent him off to slaughter. And it's not going to be that way. You know, I understand the Charlotte's Web, and I understand the protection, protect the innocent. Yeah, the farmer will see fit that he can protect his investment by keeping the pig. Why not? So there's 33 days. It's still six. It's a man. It's emotions as it is the heart, as it is family and nurturing, and its fertility as it's meant to expand outwardly. Where the force standing up, rising up, with six is expanding. So we have two planes, sagittal and what's the other one? Planal, the planes of our body. That we're awakening in the soul body above. The soul body above us is awakening to consciousness. As we rise up through the soul, it awakens. It awakens to the fact that he wishes to be in line with the servant, if but to become the servant of the servant, and so he can serve in his father's kingdom once more, the prodigal son. Sure. Okay, off to gardening. That was a whole hour, right? That's like on a 33-day snafu. And have a good life. Find joy and know that it can be purchased, but it can also be discovered for free. Free ends to the end. Friends. Amen.